Hi guys, good afternoon. I'm weather analyst Andrew Flick just for a Thursday afternoon outlook on the East Coast snowstorm possibility for analysiswx.com. Today's points, again, we're just going to be focusing on this bigger East Coast snowstorm that at this point we can pretty much start to be calling it a snowstorm. And today we're going to talk about the areas of concern that most need watching, and then of course the areas on the back edge that still can have that possibility of some snow as well. So what I'm going to do here first is show you the analysiswx.com weekend storm map. We have the low pressure just off the Outer Banks there, and we have the heaviest accumulations, light accumulations occurring. Mostly the heaviest will be closer to the storm, and then you'll have that outer lighter accumulations just outside of the heaviest snow. So again, this is going to be a pretty good snowstorm for Virginia, for Maryland, Delaware, even southern parts of New Jersey. This is finally your storm. This is finally the storm that you guys have been waiting for, it's hard to say, 8 to 10 years, I believe. So that's something that, has not occurred in a very long while for some of you guys. So, of course, some folks have had a good snow, but this one could be one that could match up on the last good snow you had, whether it's 6 inches, whether it's 8 inches, 10, or a foot of snow. Those possibilities in those heaviest accumulational areas does look possible. And now what I'm going to go do is show you guys the radar map here. And pretty much here's the storm, okay? And what it's doing now and what it's going to be doing for the next 24 hours is just, keeping itself in the Gulf and just rejuvenating itself with a lot of moisture, a lot of energy. And we know that the one place that can do that is the Gulf. And that's why the storm is going to be so big, because it's going to have so much moisture with it, and it's going to be coming from the Gulf. By tomorrow afternoon, this storm starts to become more evidently that there is a low, and that's going to start moving up toward the southeast, and that's where we're going to start to see the snows break out by tomorrow night and such. And that's where we're going to get a little more in depth with this. So where I said the low pressure would be by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening would be right here, and what you have then is some precip ahead of that starting to finally form up. I think you might start to get maybe by tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon into early evening. That's when you could start to see some ice or some snow start to be looking upon on the radar. So of course that's not when the worst of it's going to occur, but as early as Friday afternoon or Friday evening is when that could start to come into magnitude. And again, it's not real strong here. Then as we move into the next imagery, that's when it becomes a bigger issue. The storm makes a track of this. Okay, now up to this point, just around the southeast coast, I think it's going to be very close to see if this storm is over the Outer Banks or just east of the Outer Banks, and that's going to make a big difference. Okay, because now what you have is some heavy precip now starting to extend, and this is where your snow is going to be falling at this point by very, very late midnight on Friday, tomorrow night. This is where your snows are going to start to form here, and this is where your heaviest is going to start to be. And again, this storm is winding up. You're talking about a 992 millibar storm off the coast, and you put snow into that equation, boy, you're going to be in for a good old snowstorm, that's for sure. Elsewhere, I want you guys to look up here. There's a high pressure, okay, and it's dominating this area north of the storm, which is one reason why you get millibars tighter, and that's why they become stronger, which I'll even show you on the next imagery, which is even more impressive. And you can see here, instead of having the old classic storm where you have the millibars looking like this, and you have your colder air, west of this line, and the storm, rides up, and you're getting snow back in this area up here. Now, and because the storm is more intense, you have the millibars looking like this, okay, and that's where the colder air is. So when the storm is moving up, it's going to get tightened and squeezed, and it's going to slow it down and produce a longer duration of snow. So in the next imagery here, this is when the storm just goes kaboom. It's a 988. Okay, this is talking about your early morning on your Saturday. This is when you can pretty much be seeing the heaviest snows so far of the event. A 988 is totally impressive, and that is just over the Outer Banks. And now what you're starting to see is this high pressure starting to dig a little more to the closer to the storm, and those high pressure millibars compared to the low pressure millibars here, they are getting pretty close to each other, and that's what's really starting to wind this thing up. And now what you're seeing is low pressure in here, and you're starting to see snows all the way back in this area here up to Baltimore, Washington, up to New Jersey, and extending, and that's where your heavy snow is going to be falling at this point. Of course, you still have your high pressures, dominating across PA, but what's then very interesting after this is now the storm starts to edge its way now off the coast, just off the coast of the Delmarva. Of course, on this imagery here, your Saturday afternoon, I'll tell you what, wind gusts are going to be absolutely impressive in that area there, let alone snow. I mean, you want to talk about the possibilities of almost blizzard conditions. That is probably where you could see it by Saturday afternoon. Tight millibars, very strong winds, heavy snow. That sounds like a blizzard. Now, we don't want to go to that point, but of course, hey, when you have strong winds like that, heavy snow, the possibilities are there for, the possibilities of a blizzard. But, as of right now, you need to just figure out where the snow is going to be falling before you start jumping into conclusions. I mean, we need to see where the storm is going to be down here, okay, in the next 12 to 18 hours before we can get up to this spot up here. This is the, of course, 12Z NAM, and the 12Z NAM was the most aggressive out of the models, so, I'm taking the most aggressive, but the one I think that has the most reasonable track. Okay, and that's that area and up through the northeast, through there. So I'm more going through the track here than the intensity, but I'm still giving you a good idea. But anything though, a 984, okay, off the coast of the Delmarva, winds are going to be pretty bad, and beach erosion. With that said, now what starts to happen now is now you start to get the millibars looking like this, okay, and now you're getting the snows back here, and as like I said, we had one point had the millibars looking like this. Okay, more of a horizontal. Now they're starting to go diagonal. Okay, so that's now when you're going to start to get PA, upper New Jersey, up around Boston, Massachusetts, Long Island. That's when your snow starts to come in to the possibilities. And we'll see that here on the next imagery. And then it really winds up and moves off to the coast and off to the east. So as of right now, where do we think we're going to be seeing the highest accumulational snows? Well, I'll definitely go and take a bit at that anywhere in this area here, down through Virginia, North Carolina, and up through about here. I think I might have gotten a little too close to the coast there, but anywhere in that area is going to have to be watching for very significant snow amounts. And then you're going to find yourself somewhere in Virginia, somewhere in here, where you're going to have even higher accumulations. So you're going to have your heaviest in this area here, but your higher accumulations even possible in Virginia, where of course you have more of a bigger state like Virginia in that area. That could be where you tend to see the highest accumulational snows. So Virginia, this is a storm. The storm is for lovers. And elsewhere, you're going to get probably some even snow accumulations back up to this area in here, and that would be on the lighter side. So again, a storm extending from Boston all the way down to North Carolina, Virginia. I'd say it's a pretty good whammy in my opinion. So we'll have to keep monitoring this and keep watching this, but I think it's going to be a really good storm for most. So that's about a wrap for this afternoon's Thursday afternoon storm outlook. We'll keep you guys onto the storm and keep giving you really the updates that are going to be coming in on every model run. I think this is going to be a pretty big storm at this point for the eastern half of the United States, so we're definitely going to have to watch this a lot more in depth. So we will do that in fact, and we'll talk to you guys later on. I'm AnalysisWX.com's weather analyst Andrew Fleck. Have a good Thursday, and maybe I'll talk to you guys later.